there, and a warm welcome to another episode of Today's Parent. Today's Parent is about connecting you with experts and providing you with information to make your parenting journey a bit more awesome. And the other thing we do is connect you with parents just like you and me so we can learn from each other. I'm your host, Christine Casina. In today's show, we have a beautiful family in studio, Aggie, George, and Zalika. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What we'd want to just, learn from you and hear from you. Let's start with your parenting journey. How has it been like?
Well, we've only been parents for a couple of months, so it's been short. But it started off with like a really good pregnancy.
Okay, how was your pregnancy like?
It was very easy. It was really easy. We were really lucky with that. I was exercising and working out until the day that my water broke, pretty much.
Wow.
Yeah, so I had no sickness, no fatigue, no mood swings. Like all these things you hear people talking about, feet swelling. I was like, what's that? So really easy pregnancy.
So yours was an easy pregnancy?
Very easy.
And during your pregnancy, what's the one thing you were scared of?
The labor, which now I kept saying, I used to joke with George at like, my pregnancy is so easy, I might get punished at the end. And that's kind of what happened.
Oh my gosh, what happened?
I had a labor for about 3 to 4 days.
Wow.
Yeah, so my water broke on Saturday evening. She came Wednesday night. So.
And all this happened at home, or did you find yourself in a hospital setting?
We were at home.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for the 3 days, you were at home?
Yes.
What empowered you guys to be in a state of mind that you're not going to panic and everything that is happening right now is okay and is what should be happening? Because I know for most moms, a couple of hours later, we just want it to be over and done with. So I can imagine for 4 days. How was it like?
It was tough. We can't pretend that we didn't panic or, occasionally think, are we doing the right thing? 4 days is a long time, and you could see that Aggie was getting tired.
I can imagine.
We definitely realised, is this the right space to be in? But we'd done a lot of research, and we'd prepared to be at home.
Okay.
And we had a fantastic midwife, and she really kind of helped us, guided us through it all. And we were always told right from the beginning, if there were no complications, if it was a low-risk pregnancy, that we would be fine at birth. So that's what we used, really. And even when we were getting more worried and Aggie was getting more tired, we still kind of followed that advice.
Right. So you guys at some point opted to have a home birth?
We did.
Yeah.
Yeah. But not from the beginning. We always knew we were going to go to the hospital. We always knew, like we were doing our clinics in the hospital.
Okay.
We'd identified the hospital. We'd gone and done a tour, looked at the ward, everything. And then because we were determined to have a natural unmedicated birth, we're trying to work out how do we best ensure that we have that, because my pregnancy was low risk. There was no reason really to end up having to have all that interruption, let me say. And so it was in the process of preparing that we came across someone who said she had a home birth, and that was like, what, you can do that in Nairobi? Why? And then we started researching and looking into it, and it just sounded amazing. So that's what we opted for.
All right. So at 7 months, you then decided it's going to be a home birth. Is there a different way you need to prepare? I mean, for a couple like you, for someone like me who gave birth in a hospital, then you have the usual checklist of prepare your emergency bag, and then you call your doctor if you need to. Is there a different kind of checklist for a home birth?
It's pretty much the same. We still had to do a hospital bag. But then we also had to do extra, because now you're giving birth at home. So you have to prepare like the room, you have to prepare like the playlist. We played music.
You had a playlist?
Yeah.
I didn't have a playlist in the No, I didn't have a playlist in the
it was one of the bonuses.
It was one of the bonuses. We bought scented candles.
Wait, what was on your playlist?
Oh gosh, we played, I was in labor for so long, we exhausted it. And we ended up having to use something
I think you
else.
went in the bin, actually. I think I started the playlist on the day, and she was like, no, I don't want this. Okay, cool, I better find a new one.
That's true. We had like a mixture of, Kenyan music and music that we like. And then on the day I was like, shut that off, let's find something else. So we ended up playing like a lot of piano, like music, like something you'd hear in a spa,
so
like nice relaxing music. Yeah. I wish I knew that, but in the end, like George has a really nice collection of soothing, calming music, so that's what we went with.
Right.
Yeah.
You
But
know,
for hours and hours and hours.
I was thinking for your last stretch, for your day 4, then you'd have something more, aggressive, rock-like, that kind of, hard music.
Yeah.
It was there. It was on hand if we
But,
needed it. But no,
No, we didn't use it.
Let's go back to the...
Okay.
Yeah.
But no, I think the preparation or the advice is the same for anyone. I think as long as your pregnancy is low risk and there aren't complications,
Yeah.
and we still had to go to hospital to check those and get checkups, get advice from the doctor. And as long as we tick those boxes, then we were able to have our own birth.
Right.
And during our decision-making time, we did enough amount of research. We interviewed a doctor from one of the hospitals and asked his advice about having a home birth. And he said, as long as your pregnancy is not complicated, you'll be fine. And he even said that 9 out of 10 pregnancies are low risk. And so we realised, well, then yeah, why not give it a go?
Yeah. But I have to say, one of the preparations we had to do was we had to book an ambulance.
Just in case of
Just in
anything.
case, yeah. So there's a really good service where you pay about 2,400 for which gives you 2 rescues. And so one of them is, for the birth itself. And they're just in the compound waiting in case of it. They have a paramedic and everything. But we didn't use them. We didn't need them in the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it did worry our neighbours a little bit.
It did,
They
yeah.
saw the ambulance, what's going on. But it was good to have it on standby, I think.
Yeah.
What I want to ask, in my mind, I'm trying to play it in my mind. How does a home birth look like? And how is it different from I know you are yet to compare, but how does a home birth look like?
Just giving birth at home.
It's up to you. That's the beauty. It's your home, it's your space. And
So you don't need any special equipment?
Well, you need your midwife. And she gave us the option of having a pool.
A water bath.
Like
So
a water bath.
we had a water bath.
So that can come in?
So she
So
brought
she
a
can
pool.
come with that?
Yeah, so she came with a pool. And you just choose the room that you want, and then you set it up the way you want. I mean, the thing about a home bath is you set the tone. So if you want to have pictures on the wall, if you want to have candles, if you want to have, I don't know, whatever, it's up to you. Like, she lets you just decide. It's your space, you do what you want.
Right.
If you want to have your family there, if you want nobody, it's up to you.
Okay.
So we just ended up just being the 2 of us, the midwife and her assistant, and that was it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very private and intimate.
Very, yeah. But just the way we wanted it.
Now that you've done it, do you get moms and dads who come up to you? I know you've shared, possibly with your friends, of course, that you had a home birth. Do you get people ask you that it's an option they would want to think about a home birth?
We haven't had people coming up to us because it's not like we announced on Facebook or anything. But anyone who we're talking to, we're saying we had a home birth. We're not embarrassed. We're really happy we found that option. It worked really well for us.
Right.
I mean, at the end of the day, you get mixed reactions. Like people who are like, "Are you crazy?"
And that's why we didn't tell people before.
Yeah.
I'm
Even-
sure they would
even
have
our
convinced
family.
you otherwise.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
possible.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 I mean, yeah. And maybe in those moments when we were kind of doubting, it's like, listening to those voices,
Yeah.
wow, you're crazy.
Yeah.
And I didn't tell my family back in the UK. I just thought, no, let's just do it. This is what we've decided to try and do. But afterwards, yeah, it was...
I mean, even my
Really
family,
nice.
they didn't know. It was literally the next day because she came on Wednesday night and then that was it. Then Thursday, I sent the message out, baby arrived. And people are like, oh, so what hospital are you in? We're like, we're at home. And I remember my dad was like, already? So we're like, no, actually, we never left. And then it was like, oh, okay, what?
But you mentioned at some point you needed to take Zalika to be checked at the hospital.
After
that's-
2
Yeah.
weeks.
Oh, after
After
the
two
or
weeks,
the
yeah.
She
first
never left.
immunization.
Yes.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. So we never left until she was 2 weeks to go for her first jabs.
But we
So the
still-
midwife does everything at home.
She was coming, so she was there with us until midnight, and then she left. We slept. She came the next day just to check on us. She kept coming like almost every day. She was with us pretty much that whole week. Because of my labor, she was coming every day, and then on the day of the birth and after the birth, checking to see how I'm healing. And then the beauty with her is she takes you through breastfeeding. So she was making sure I'm breastfeeding well. Take us through taking care of her. Just everything. It was amazing. How to feed, how to change, how to sleep train, like everything. It was really nice. So we were walking through the journey. It wasn't like, okay, now we have a baby, what do we do?
What do we
like,
do?
She
So
was
then she
literally
puts you
there.
that information.
Yeah.
You're very lucky parents.
Yeah.
This
It's
is your
amazing.
first child?
First child,
Yes,
yeah.
yeah.
First child. How is that? How has it been like as first-time parents compared to what you had in your mind, what parenting is, and what it is now? Starting with you, George.
It's it's been a big change that like we thought it would be, but she's also kind of slotted into our lives maybe a bit easier than we imagined, and yeah, maybe that's also down to Lucy, our midwife, who prepped us so well and giving us that space to feel comfortable at the birth. But we've been able to kind of carry on with our meetings and our day-to-day things, taking her with us and not just staying in the house. And that feels really, I don't know, exciting to take her out as well.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So your life has not been disrupted at all.
Of course it has.
Let's talk about the one thing that is so disruptive is the change in sleep.
It hasn't been too bad. It was bad, obviously, the first few weeks. But then again, with Lucy, our midwife, she taught us how to sleep train. So we managed to get her into a routine of sleeping through the night.
Oh, wow.
And I mean, of course, we're still figuring it out.
Yeah, we're not bragging.
But
We
so
haven't
far, most of the nights she sleeps through the night.
12 hours, yeah.
You're very lucky parents.
Yeah, and
You're
she
very
taught us
lucky
something
parents.
she taught us something called dream feeding.
Dream
Yeah,
feeding.
yeah,
How does
so-
that go?
So she'll go to bed about 7 or 8, and then we'll pick her up around midnight, still asleep, and just stick the bottle in her mouth. And instinctively, babies suck anyway. So she'll down the bottle while she's asleep, and that's why it's called dream feeding. And then put her back to sleep.
And when you put her down at 7, is she sleeping or is she awake?
She sleeps, yeah.
7, yeah, she's going off to sleep.
Right.
That's the thing. Sometimes, of course, we think we've got it, and then maybe the next night she doesn't go down till 8, 9.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're still kind of learning it, obviously, but we have had, quite a few weeks of being able to get some sleep as well. So
And George says like he's sometimes getting more sleep than he did before we had a baby.
yeah, which seems
So,
crazy.
Yeah.
but-
That's a good thing. As we're going into the break, going back to your pregnancy and the things you did to prepare for baby, the both of you, let's start with the most useless thing you've bought so far, in your opinion, when it comes to baby.
We've been very lucky. We haven't bought much
Oh,
because we got a lot of hand-me-downs. We didn't want to buy clothes because everyone advised us babies outgrow their clothes so quickly. So
That
we
is
have
true.
friends for my baby shower. We said, if you want to bring a gift, bring a hand-me-down. And so we got from the baby cot to the clothes to the car seat, everything has been hand-me-downs.
wow.
And they're in pretty much new condition. This is George's outfit when he was a baby, I have to say.
How cute is
George's
it?
mom brought it.
Really cute.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I was a very pretty baby. I can tell.
It's very beautiful.
Yeah.
And she looks nice in it. She looks
Thanks.
really gorgeous in it.
Yeah, my mum came to visit her first grandchild and brought my old clothes. So
That
was good.
So no useless items in your list. So you've been lucky not to overspend, especially the one thing that new parents
No, we
do
have-
is,
yeah, we have.
spend on every new gadget they could find and afford.
That's the one
No.
thing I think we got advice about and we didn't. So we didn't buy. The only thing I bought was the cloth diapers because we are cloth diapering.
Oh, you're not doing the
Disposable.
usual disposable. Most
We did
people
for
go
the
for
first-
disposable diapers.
Yeah, we did for the first few weeks because she was still too small to fit in the cloth diapers. But that's the only thing we bought really. And we haven't bought anything really. Like there's nothing we can be like, oh, we bought it, we didn't need it. No, no. Yeah. So we were lucky. We got the right advice. Let's put it that way.
And nice friends who would
Good
give us.
Yeah, and now she's like, I have clothes for the next set of age, so I don't know when we'll start buying. Yeah.
So what we're going to do, we're going to take a short break. And when we come back from the break, we're just going to hear more of your story and what you're doing different as new parents and what you hope for, for your beautiful daughter, Zalika. And with that, we're going to take a short break. When we are back, we'll be back with this beautiful couple, George and Agnes and their baby Zalika, just to get to know more about their family life. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to today's episode of Today's Parent. In studio, we have extraordinary parents, Agnes and George, and their beautiful daughter, Zalika. It's all about sharing their parenting experience and what we can learn from them. Welcome back to the show. Aggie, how has motherhood changed you since you had Zalika?
I don't think it's changed me, really. I mean, I love having her. She's a great baby. But then one of the things that we like about how easy she is so far is that she's been able to slot into our lives and you know, like as long as I can, like I'm exclusively breastfeeding,
Okay.
but as long as I can pump and express enough milk for her, I'm able to also go out. So, you know, I'm able to still, you know, catch up with friends and leave her with her dad. And because we are freelance filmmakers, we have like a flexible schedule. So that means that, you know, we don't have like a 9 to 5 like most conventional parents, which means like, you know, we spend a lot of time with her. And then sometimes I'm home with her and George goes off and does his thing. I go off and do my thing sometimes. And, you know, like at the moment with our industry, we're able to take her for our meetings. So she's been able to like tag along on our meetings, and you know, when we had a launch for our series, she was there. So it feels like we're still doing our thing. And
So she's fit right into your lives.
I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
Yeah, to a point, yeah, absolutely.
So talking about just briefly about your projects, you mentioned that you're in film. You work
Yeah.
together, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's your platform about?
So we have a series we released a month ago called Janjaruka. It's on YouTube,
Okay.
and it's also about to go on Switch TV. So,
Right.
but then we've also done lots of other projects before. We've done films. We've done TV shows. So we've done talk shows. So yeah, this has been amazing.
So she's fit right in, and motherhood does not, it hasn't disrupted your life in any way.
So far, it's been easy. I mean, once she starts, I don't know, talking and crawling, who knows? But at the moment, she's like a handbag. You just carry her wherever. And she's been really good with people. So, yeah, we've been lucky.
Aggie, you've mentioned that having Zalika has not been, disruptive to your life. But I know for most moms, and I know there has to be something, some mom guilt here and there that, do you ever wonder if you're doing enough? And when you have those moments, how do you just come back to the center and tell yourself that it's been 2 months, but I know I'm doing my best?
I always, like, the guilt I have is I feel like George is like the Zalika whisperer. So he's the one who, because as soon as I had the baby and then, we're at home and I was recovering, the first like 2-3 days, I was on complete bed rest. So George was doing everything from cooking to cleaning to changing diapers to everything, and literally just bringing her to breastfeed and taking her away. When she woke up at night, he would do that. So I feel like they bonded, and then sometimes I feel like when he's, because he changes a lot of diapers, I feel like she's more calm with him. And I'm sure that's not true, but then I feel like maybe when I'm with her and she's fussy, I start thinking, oh, maybe I don't know, I don't have that special touch
that George has.
So I usually say to him like, oh, it's like she knows you and she doesn't know me. But obviously, I think it's just one of those things where I expect, because I'm the mom, she should just be calm with me throughout.
Yes, that you've got this.
Yeah, but obviously that's not realistic, and I'm sure she's also fussy with him sometimes.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, I have exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
If I've had her for a few hours and then Aggie walks in the door, it's like her face lights up and I'm like, just spent the day with you and
loyalty has
Whereas-
just checked immediately.
In me,
Yeah, but see, when I walk in and I see her lighting up, I think, oh, she's such a happy baby. She had a nice time with her dad, and here I am now to disrupt it. And, so it's like both of us are feeling like we're not doing enough. But obviously, I think it's just,
I think we constantly feel like we don't know what we're doing.
Yeah.
Aggie, what inspired you to name your baby, the both of you? What was the inspiration behind the name Zalika? What does it mean?
Zalika means born well, successfully. So it started off with, for the longest time, like we didn't have a name. And every time I'd come up with names, because we knew we wanted a Swahili or Kisi name, because I'm Kisi. But then everything I would suggest, George would be like, nah. And then on the day I was in labor, because I was in labor for 3 days. And then on the 3rd day, I remember thinking, like, in my head, I was like, tutata Zalika lini. And then I thought, oh, Zalika, that could be a good name. But then I didn't want to tell George because I was like, he's shut down all my ideas. I'm not even going to bother. So I didn't. And then she was born. She didn't have a name. For 3 days, she didn't have a name.
She's sleeping.
Yeah.
So pretty.
And then she... So on the 4th day, George calls me and says, oh, I think I have like, some shortlisted names.
Because I was starting to panic. We haven't got a name.
And we didn't
Birth
have a birth
certificates,
certificate,
like, gotta fill it out.
Yeah.
So we need a name.
Yeah. So then, because we needed to give our details for the birth certificate,
Of
because that's how it
course,
works
of
with a
course.
home birth. Like, she handles everything. So then we needed to have a name by then. And so George was like, okay, I have 4 names shortlisted. And then the 4th name, he was like, this is my favorite one, and it's Zalika. And I was like, how funny. That was actually, and I told him the story of how in my head I was thinking, Zalika lini. And then we're like, well, then, it's settled. That's the name.
It's a beautiful name.
And she's called Zalika Sambili. Sambili because she was born at 8 o'clock. But also Sambili because it's paying tribute to George's dad, whose name was Sam.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Really beautiful.
Yeah.
What are your hopes and dreams for Zalika? Starting with you, George.
I guess that she's a healthy baby and that she kind of has the confidence to follow her own path and do whatever it is that she wants to do, I guess.
Yeah.
And also to keep in touch with us, keep talking to us,
Yeah,
like not
don't
just,
forget us.
don't forget us. Yeah, I don't think I have any major hopes that she's going to be a particular person. She just
Yeah.
find her own way, I guess.
As long as she lives her life to the fullest, I think we just, she can explore and figure out her own path. Like, we just want her to, figure life out for herself.
And we wish her the very best.
Yeah.
And as we wrap up, we've talked a lot about the option that you guys chose, home births, and you seem to be very passionate about it.
Well, we are passionate because it worked for us. Obviously we know, you can go to the hospital. It's an option, and it's not we're here to say you should have a home birth. It's just a matter of saying there's that option. We didn't know about it until we found it when I was 7 months, and I think it's just like to say it's not a must to go to the hospital. And like just to say you can explore different options and find what works for you, and know that this is something that exists. What would you say?
I'd agree. Yeah. Look into the options. See what. Sorry, baby.
Sorry, Zalika.
Yeah. Look into the options, and there are other options than just doing the hospital, and maybe you can find one that really works for you.
Right.
Yeah. And I think the other thing is, like, if you can do classes beforehand. I mean, like I said, just inform yourself, and I think that really helped us as well, helped prepare us. And I think that's why we are passionate, just because we felt like we were given enough information and preparation so that we were happy and comfortable and ready on the day, even though we had a tough labor.
But 4 days later, see how beautiful she came out.
Yeah,
beautiful
absolutely.
baby.
Yeah,
beautiful baby.
Zalika.
Indeed.
Yes.
Indeed. Aggie and George, as we wrap up, as new parents, your final word of advice. I know you are not veterans yet, but there could be a mom or dad out there looking at you guys and thinking how easy this looks. But your hacks that you use here and there in the last 2.5 months just to, embrace these moments, because very soon she'll be all grown up and, walking and, out of the door. How do you stay present as parents? What final advice can you give to new parents out there, starting with you, Aggie?
I mean, we've barely been parents. It's only been 2.5 months, so I don't know if we're the authority of how to raise children. But I think the main thing is just remember each other, maybe, because that's the baby comes in and now there's this new person, and go with the flow, because it depends on the baby. She's an easy one. She could have been like a tough one. So I think we've been lucky.
Yeah, and she's still growing 2.5. Anything could change along the way.
Yeah, what would you say?
Track down Lucy Mathoni, the midwife. That's the biggest piece of advice.
Yes.
And just talk to her, find out what options, because she doesn't only do home births. She can just
classes.
help you with the lead up to your birth, or she can even help you kind of prepare for a hospital birth and whatever. But she'll give you another perspective. So it's really worth tracking her down.
Yeah, I think I'll second that, because when we had our prenatal classes, she paired us up with another couple who were giving birth in Australia, but they had their classes just to prepare with her, and they ended up having a hospital birth in Australia, but they prepared with her. So she also just does preparing classes, just making sure you're as prepared as possible, things that you wouldn't get from a hospital probably. So get Lucy's number.
Thank you very much, and thank you to both of you for making the time to come to the show. We really thank you for your time. And to Zalika, such a beautiful baby, thank you for coming, Mama. And we wish you guys all the very best in this journey called motherhood, fatherhood, parenting. Never easy, but I'm sure as a team, it gets better and it's much, much easier. All the best to you guys.
Thank you.
And with that, we come to the end of today's episode of Today's Parent. In studio, we had this beautiful couple, Aggie and George, and they brought in their baby Zalika to share their parenting journey. I hope you've learned something from them. And if you're considering a home birth, maybe this is an option you can look into if you're pregnant. We have been in studio here at Little Cribs, the home of exciting kids furniture that are fun, durable, and affordable. I have been your host, Christine Casina. If you're looking for parenting information, go to www.supermamas.co.ke. See you next time.